Welcome back. I'm Tedward and welcome to the 2022 Mercedes AMG SL63 Roadster. It has a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 making 577 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. It starts at $178,000, and as tested right here, it's 206 grand. So financially, this is no lightweight. And it's pretty heavy, so it's certainly no lightweight to begin with. But the options we've got that really add some money to this thing are the aerodynamics package and the carbon ceramics. There's a lot you can do to customize your SL63, and this one has all the goodies. It even has a front axle lift, which you will watch me fumble with. And with its 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, it will decimate most things from a dig. It'll do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, despite being sort of the Florida old man SL. The SL is like its own brand under the Mercedes umbrella, sort of like Corvette to Chevrolet, because it really does stand apart from the rest, and they have their own cachet. But let's take a look around the thing. We have monster carbon ceramic brakes up front. Sticking us to the road is a 275 section tire up front and a 305 section tire in the rear. But look at these monster calipers even in the rear. That is pretty incredible. To get in the SL, the doors are very similar to that of the EQS. These pop out. I guess the S-Class has that as well now too, but you know, Mercedes is getting a little complicated with the way they're doing things. Now, of course, it's a 2+2, but the +2 are very small. That's more of a partial shelf, and my goodness, is that a vertical seat back. That is an emergency situation only. But let's take a look under the hood. Now, this should look very familiar because we do love a 4-liter twin turbo with the hot V, the turbos nestled in the middle of the cylinder banks. We've seen this in everything from G-Wagons to E63s, and it's doing quite a lot of work to keep this thing rocketed in motion. And it's a lot of fun, and it sounds fantastic. Now, the aero package even gives you this little front lip spoiler which comes out, but you've got to be cautious because if you are entering some unsavory surfaces, you're going to want to retract that. I think the rear of the car falls apart a little bit for me. It's just a strange style because this comes off in that sort of AMG GT fashion where it's rounded. And I get it, that's the nomenclature, that's the design language of the current Mercedes-Benz. But as an SL aficionado myself, I do love a long, flat trunk. And this is a big departure, especially because now we've even gone back to a soft top roof. We don't have the hard top. So then let's take a look. Ooh, our MC20 is starting up as well. Here we have automatic opening trunk, reasonable space actually, even with the roof down, and a little bit of a cavernous compartment to put some stuff back there from blowing around while you have the top down. As you should always have the top down. My favorite design feature of this car is this rear diffuser next to this beautiful quad tip exhaust, but right here, this does it for me. It reminds me a lot of Porsche's Cayenne Turbo GT. They have a little winglet like that on top of the roof. I love it. And it's those little touches that really make these things look phenomenal. So you guys can make your assessments on whether this is a proper successor to the SL or if it just falls short. But that's not up to me. That's subjective. I can, however, tell you how it drives. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So let's go make some raucous noise and have some fun. Being a Mercedes convertible, of course, we've got our wind scarf here, so that blows hot air on you when you're driving, and very helpful with the roof down. So that way you can enjoy more top-down action despite bad weather. We have this enormous tablet right here that is controlling all of our things here. It's a little overwhelming. The MBUX or MBUX system, it's a lot for me. I'm not a big Mercedes guy, and it's mostly just because I don't own one that this is probably very confusing to me. The Maserati MC20 sounding on point. But I do feel like I'm really overwhelmed with tech. So let's get this thing started up. Oh, that's excellent. And let's actually do that again, because I believe if you hold the downshift paddle while doing it, it gives you a little pop on the startup. Yes, definitely more rumbly, if I do say so myself. And then down here, like I said, it's just information overload. I like that, sort of like Porsche. Sorry to keep comparing, but we have our mode selectors, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus. That gives us all of our information there, that our driveline, suspension, and AMG dynamics are changing. That's helpful and valuable. We've got to go top down, and to put it in gear, typical Mercedes fashion on the stock. And away we go. We're going to follow our friends here. We've got Charlie from the Daily Motor and Chris Brower from Topher Drives, not to be confused with the Topher. We've got a 9-speed MCT transmission in this thing. That is not a dual clutch. The MCT is Mercedes-Benz's multi-clutch transmission, and it uses a series of clutches to engage and disengage gears. It's a little tricky, but it does sound great. Now it's Sport Plus, and actually every drive mode, I do think the car lacks a little bit of confidence. I think maybe that's partially the weight, and partially because this is supposed to be a Grand Touring car. But, you know, I do feel like it's just a little edgy, and it might be the fact that it has the optional rear axle steering. But let's take a listen to this. You can hear the pops and cracks. It's pretty quick. This thing absolutely rockets off the line. So with rear-wheel steering and all-wheel drive, it's very traction-oriented. It always feels like it's going to hook up. I think where I start to get unsettled is in the long, fast sweepers or in a slow chuck-in scenario. But let's go find out. We're going to go on some better roads than this. If you want, you can also alter this display angle, and that will move however you need it to be. As you can see, it definitely moves, and it puts the power down. I think you just have to be a little bold to do it in a car this large. It feels big, but it drives small in a lot of respects. It's pretty impressive. And it's not the SL's job to be a 911. I mean, the 911, yes, it is a Grand Touring car, but it's always been a little sharper, a little more nimble. The SL has been sort of the Florida car, the car that you drive around with the top down quietly, and you just enjoy the wave of torque from your V8. I have got to say, this is kind of impressing me on corner exits. It's taken me a little bit of effort to trust it, but now that I do, I think I get it. This tachometer is a little hard to read, but luckily Mercedes does a little bit of shifting for you. think it reminds me a lot of like a BMW M8 competition. But I do think I like this more, surprisingly. Oh, the cracks that come out of this exhaust are super fun. You just can't believe it puts all this power down. The brakes, absolutely stunning with these carbon ceramics. It feels great. They're not initially bitey though. They don't send you through the windscreen, but they do give you a great initial feeling. So you don't have to dig too hard for them. See, that's where the weight starts to come into play, because it's hard to get this front end to do the job for you. But the rear axle steering compensates a little bit for it. I gotta say, this is some sketchy stuff here on the pavement when it's got wet and dirt on it. It's not great. And although the rear axle steering helps this thing get around a corner nicely, it cannot just prevent understeer. And that is something that you will fight a little bit from this car. So far, the SL is pretty much what I anticipated it to be, with one surprise being the fact that it is so incredibly torquey and capable, which shouldn't really come as that much of a surprise because it's a V8 Mercedes with 2 turbos. That's always fun. We like AMGs. It's just that, this is not necessarily going to be your track day toy or your canyon carver. It is, however, going to be a really valuable tool in your garage if you need something that can be classy, comfortable, go to the golf course, be a top-down roadster. But, and of course, rip off fast 0 to 60s. Because light to light, this thing is absolute savage. Check out this pre-runner. Very cool. So, the steering, it's very AMG. It's light, it doesn't make you work too hard, it puts down a bit of force, but it's not giving me all of the feedback in the road. You know, it could be a little better, a little more tactile. But again, we're in an SL, so I don't know that that necessarily suits the car. This has to be comfortable. I think the package of this car still serves its purpose as an SL. I've already heard some murmurs and critiques of it. I don't know that it's necessarily fair to dunk on it, because I think it still goes out and sets its purpose straight. It's comfortable, it's an animal because it's an AMG, and it's still plenty capable, but no one should ever expect to get into this and perform like it's a 911. They should always be anticipating that this thing is going to be a little bit heavy and push the nose a bit. It's not their job to make this thing a complete track star. So for that, I think it serves its purpose well. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.